So tonight we're doing something a little different on the channel, but I'm excited to talk to you guys tonight all about romance book tropes. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and tonight, like I said, we're gonna do things a little bit different. I've always wanted to do kind of a soft-spoken video on this channel, and I'm kind of getting to the point now where I just want to do what I want to do, I guess. So yeah, I decided tonight's the night, I guess. So I'm fresh out of the shower, I did my nighttime routine and whatever, and I came up here to do this little video for you guys. So tonight we're talking about romance book tropes. I don't talk a lot about romance books on my channel, and that's because I read them primarily for my job. If you didn't know, I'm a freelance beta reader, so yeah, I read a lot of romance books, and I kind of get burnt out on them quite a bit, so I tend to not read them as much in my like day-to-day life. But tonight we're going to talk all about romance book tropes. I said, can't remember what post I put this in, but I was talking about a book that was just full of every romance trope that I disliked, and at the time I didn't want to tell you guys what those tropes were because I didn't want to like spoil the book for you guys. So tonight we're going to talk all about the tropes that I like and the tropes that I absolutely hate. So what I did was I got online and found a bunch of posts that just lists romance book tropes, and I wrote down all the ones that I have feelings about. Like some of the tropes I've never read in books, or so I only wrote down ones that I've actually read that I've like actually have an opinion on. So I didn't want to make this list like super long and fill it with stuff that I don't even have an opinion about. So these tropes are only going to be ones that I've actually read in books and that I either really like them or really don't. I have an opinion one way or the other. Before we get into it, make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting. I post every week, and all we do on this channel is talk about books. So if you like listening to people talk about books, here I am every week doing just that for you. Let's not waste any more time, let's get into it. Okay, like I said, this list is a little bit long. Like even though I didn't write down ones that I don't have opinions about, it did still end up being a long list. So I'm gonna try and like rapid fire it so we can get through it a little quicker so we can all go to bed, okay? Okay, the first one on the list is friends to lovers. I absolutely love this trope. I do, because I don't know, but it has to be done really well. Like it can't just be an opening chapter about them like, oh, this is my best friend. Like there has to actually be chemistry on the page of them being best friends, and then there being a shift somewhere in the first third to first half of the book. So yeah, friends to lovers is definitely a favorite. Enemies to lovers, oh, okay, like everybody loves a bad boy, right? Hypothetically. So this trope really works for me, but only if it's not paired with other tropes that I don't like, which, you know, we'll build as we get into this. But yeah, generally enemies to lovers is a very strong one. I feel like everybody really likes this trope. I don't really know that many people who dislike it. Okay, so the next one is forbidden love. I do like this trope, but only to a certain extent. Like the entire book cannot be about this. Do you know what I mean? I read recently this book, and I talked about it somewhere else, and like the whole book was just about forbidden love. Like it was fine at first because it like added so much excitement, but like that's all the book was about. And I was like, how long are we like, because the part of forbidden love book is for like the big reveal to come, you know, like someone's gonna find out, and then to see how both parties react and like kind of put things back together. So yeah, I like it, but it has to be written in a way that I like. Basically, I'm just like the pickiest person. The next one is secret identity. I will say I have not read a ton of this trope, but oftentimes it has to do with like billionaires trying not to be like billionaires, or like secret royalty or something like that. We'll get into the billionaire trope. I don't love the billionaire trope, and then to have it be like a secret billionaire trope kind of gives me the ick a little bit. Like, it reminds me of that movie. I think her name is Julia Stiles. I don't know, where she's like a waitress or like a college student, and this prince like decides he wants to be like one of the people or whatever, and so he gets this like bartending job, and like everybody treats him like he just gets smacked in the face with reality, but he still kind of treats people crappy. I don't know, it always reminds me of that movie, and I really hate the idea of like building an entire like legitimate relationship on a lie. I just don't really know how you forgive something like that, but I don't know. So I don't know, I'm iffy on this one. Stuck together, close proximity trope. Okay, this is really good. This is a really good one. This one kind of falls into the like one bedroom or one bed trope, and that totally works. It totally works. It's just fun. It's all in good fun, and it's great. It's even better when it's paired with like enemies to lovers, in my opinion, because they super duper hate each other, and then they get like forced to be close together, and they fall in love. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so this next one I'm gonna kind of like umbrella it, but I have down like best friend's sibling, but what I'm gonna do is just kind of umbrella it with best friends whatever. Best friends parent, best friends brother sister, best friends stepbrother stepsister, whatever. I don't really have a problem with this trope, but it quite typically gets paired with the forbidden love trope, and as I said, like, that can't be like the whole plot of the story, and I don't really get why it's like forbidden. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why they're like, oh, you're my best friend's like sibling, I can't date you. Why? What's like, is it just gonna be like awkward? I don't know, because like I'm trying to think about like how often I see like friends of mine's siblings, like their family. I don't know. Unless this is like a YA thing. I don't know. I don't really see what the huge deal about it is, so I'm iffy on this one too. Okay, the second chance trope. Oh my god. I want to like this trope. I want to like it so bad, but there's always this part in the back of my brain that are like, I'm so cynical. Like, in real life, I'm a very cynical person. I mean, I feel like it's better that I know that about myself. Yeah, but me being just like a cynical person, I don't really think people ever change. I really don't. I think by the time that you're like an adult, like yeah, this is like excusing young adult people, you know, people whose prefrontal cortexes are not fully developed or anything. I don't really think people change that much. Once they get into like adulthood, they don't really change. So this whole like second chance thing, like, I always feel like the person, like, whatever was between you guys that didn't work out before, it probably is gonna not work out again. Especially if it's over like your values or your principles or something, like, it's probably not gonna work out again. So yeah, I'm just cynical, and I just don't ever really think it's like realistic. The soulmate trope, I absolutely love the soulmate trope. Like, I don't know, just the idea of like finding that one person that makes your heart shine brighter than every star there ever was. Like, I don't know, there's something magical about that. I also got married when I was like really young. Like, I've been married for like almost 15 years. So yeah, I like to think that guy's my soulmate. So soulmate stories always have like a little soft spot for me. Okay, and the next one is the fake relationship trope. All right. I have mixed opinions on this, because anytime I've ever read this in the book, I've always come to the same thing where it's like, why would you ever put yourself in a situation where you have to pretend to be in a relationship with someone? Like, I don't always grasp the concept of like, why are you pretending to be with somebody that you don't really want to be with, or you don't really know, or whatever. And yeah, I just don't really get it that much. I don't know. So yeah, I have mixed feelings on this one. I haven't read one that's really like made me fall in love with the idea of it yet. So if you have like a suggestion for that one, let me know. The next one is Opposites Attract. I absolutely love this one because I do think it's true. I love seeing the like two different personalities play out on the page, and how like they can't really explain their love for each other, but it's there. Even though when they're around each other, it's kind of like difficult to be around them. Like, I don't know, their personalities clash. This one's also paired a lot with enemies to lovers, which I just think it works well. The next one's Unrequited Love. This one just like makes me so sad. I don't love this one because it makes me sad. Honestly, every time I read it and it's like Unrequited Love, it just breaks my heart. So yeah, I try to avoid this one. The next one is Work Colleagues. Usually I've seen this with like boss co-worker kind of thing. I don't really see co-workers that often. I did read one, this one, that was really good. That is a co-worker like romance, and it has a lot of really good tropes in it. It's so good. Yeah, it's typically like bosses and then they're like subordinates or whatever. I don't know. I feel like inter-office like dating or whatever, like how people are again, it's just like one of those things where it's like, I don't really get why this is a big deal. Like, just be professional at work. I don't know. Then when you mix it with like, if it's the boss and the like employee, then I totally get why it's like not a good idea, because you know, obviously they could be using preferential treatment towards the employee, or they could blackmail them, something like that. So yeah, I feel like I'm iffy on this one. It just has to be done right, and it can't mix with too many of the tropes that I don't like. But if it shines on its own, then it's usually pretty good. Next one, I didn't realize this was a trope until I like saw it on the page, but it's emotional scars. I love emotionally damaged characters, flawed characters. I love characters like that. I absolutely love it. So yeah, if there's like emotional trauma on the page, I'm in it. I'm in it all the way, baby. I'm gonna read it to the end no matter what. Okay, the next one is Dark Secret. I've read this a few times in like a few different contexts. Like sometimes I've read them in like mafia books. Some a couple I've done like fantasy ones with dark secrets. Depends on what the dark secret is. I mean, if it's something that's gonna hurt the other person, like, I mean, like, oh, my dark secret is I killed your parent, then like I'm not on board with that, because I don't feel like someone can forgive you for something like that. But if your dark secret is just that, like, I don't know, you're a mermaid, and I think it really works. Like, I like seeing that on the page. But yeah, as long as it's not going to actually hurt the other character, the other person that they're like falling in love with, then I like seeing it. Okay, this next one I absolutely do not like. If this is even in the description for the book, I won't read it. Bully romance trope. I do not like this trope at all. Like, I won't read the book. Like, if it says in the comments, like the reviews, or if it's in the description somewhere, I won't even pick the book up. I do not like bully romance. And it's probably because I was bullied a lot growing up, that it's just like, and I'm just like, I am the softest person. Like, I am just soft on the inside. I really am. Words hurt. So yeah, I can't read bully romances. I know a lot of people like them. I don't. The next one is pen pals. I absolutely love this trope. It always reminds me of like, which is so funny because Meg Ryan's in both of these. It reminds me of Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail, which is even funnier because Tom Hanks is like her co-star, and it's so funny. Anyway, it reminds me of both of those films, so I absolutely love the pen pal trope, as long as the reveal at the end goes well. Okay, this next one, it's the step siblings trope. I can't. And it's because I have step siblings. That's why I can't find it attractive, like, in any way. I just can't. Kudos to all of you guys that enjoy that stuff. I can't. Okay. I told myself that I had to do this one. This was gonna have to be the soft-spoken one, because I knew there were some tropes that were just gonna make me so angry that I was gonna want to shout. And this is one of them. I absolutely hate this trope so much. It's the unexpected pregnancy or baby trope. I absolutely hate this trope. I can't even really tell you why, like, what stems the issue, like, why I hate it so much, but, like, if I see, especially if it's paired with other tropes I don't like, obviously, and it's like, I really hate it when it's in the prologue or the epilogue. I really hate it when it's in the epilogue and it's like oh, we never really wanted children, but then we got pregnant and had one, and our life is just beautiful and complete and whole. Oh my god, I want to throw up when I read that. I absolutely hate it. Because that's not real. I think that's why it makes me so angry, is because it's just not real at all. Like, if you don't want kids, or you've never seen yourself having kids, and especially if it's like a fling, that was another part of this, like another tier of this, it's like a fling baby. Real life does not come together with a bow like that, especially when you have a baby. Like, having a baby puts so much strain on your relationship. Even if your relationship is really, really, really strong and in a good place and you really wanted that baby, that child puts so much strain on you, because of just, how much babies need you, basically. And yeah, so I hate reading it on the page. Also, like, I have my own kids at home. I don't like reading about other people's kids. Even though they're fictional, I don't love it. So, like, I know, the surprise pregnancy trope always makes me so angry when I see it on the page. I also feel like it's kind of lazy writing. Like, the author couldn't think of anything else to do, so they're like, well, let's just throw a baby in there. Anyway, I'm not going to talk anymore about it. I don't like it. Let's move on. Okay, see, I put two things that I really hate right next to each other so I could get really worked up, and then we could just move on. Because this next one is almost as bad as the unexpected baby one, and it's the virgin trope. Oh my god. And I know why I don't like it. Okay, I know exactly why. Because I'm old now. I'm not young anymore, and so I don't identify with characters that are in this part of their life anymore, and that's pretty much the whole reason. The other reason that I don't like this trope is because people write it so badly. I feel like there's this huge over romanticized way of writing the virgin trope that I think is awful for some reason, because virgin sex is not beautiful and wonderful and lovely and, like, romantic and passionate, and it's awful. It's not good. I don't care how experienced that person says that they are. Virgin sex is not a fun time. And so I really hate this, like, over romanticized writing of it. Yeah, basically if I want to read like a smut book, I want to read about people who know what they're doing. And I know that sounds mean. I'm just past this point in my life. I'm past the point of, like, reading about young characters having their first time, or having their first time be with someone who's like super duper experienced and how wonderful it was. So yeah, that's one of my least favorite ones. I actually almost didn't read this book because in the description it said that she was 18, and I thought for sure that it was gonna be a virgin trope romance, and it wasn't. So like, if you're steering clear of it because you think that might be the case, it's not. And it did change my perspective of the book, because I think if the virgin trope was in there, I think it would have ruined it a little bit. To me, the virgin trope, if it's going to work, I actually beta read someone's manuscript the other day, and I feel like they did it, the virgin trope, like so successfully, because they kept it really real. And I loved that. I actually made like a comment to them about how much I loved it. But yeah, I think if you're gonna do the virgin trope, for me to like it, it has to be paired well. Okay, the next one on my list is Rags to Riches. I don't know how I feel about this one, because typically the Rags to Riches storyline is they come into riches because some wealthy man comes and rescues them, if that makes sense. And that taps into like the patriarchy a little bit too much for me. I do talk about this here in a minute. I will get to it in a second. But yeah, if they're coming from rags to riches because someone is like rescuing them and giving them this huge, beautiful life, I don't know. It just sits unwell with me for some reason. Now, if it's just like a true rags to riches story where, like, you know, they come from nothing and they get this amazing opportunity and everything kind of falls into place after that, yeah, go for it. Okay, the next one is the arranged marriage trope, and I promise, guys, I promise I'm getting to the end. I really like the arranged marriage trope. I do, because it usually, because like to me it's almost the same as like close proximity, like you're forced to be together. But there are times that I've read like arranged marriage novels that are like fictional and like a negative way. You know what I mean? Like women from other countries being married to awful men. It's almost kind of like a trafficking sort of situation. Those types of arranged marriage novels, obviously, I don't really love. I think the arranged marriage novel and they actually like fall in love and have a happy ever after ending, like, yeah, why not? Okay, the next one is Insta Love. I don't get this trope. Like, I just don't get the like instantly falling for someone. I understand like instantly having chemistry with someone. That I understand. But like knowing right away that you love them, I don't know. Again, I'm so cynical. Anyway, I feel like this one's like iffy for me. Okay, this next one I have a lot of opinions on. The age gap trope. Okay, I've talked about this on my channel before. I know I have. So, here is my opinion on age gap romance. This is like not my in real life opinion. In real life, this is too nuanced of a conversation. Like, we just can't have it and apply it to fiction. So, in fiction, as long as everybody is of consenting age and no one was groomed into this relationship, then I don't have any problem with age gap romances. I really don't. But if it's like a 15-year-old with a 20-year-old, yes, I have an issue. Everyone needs to be of consenting age, otherwise it just really gives me the ick, and I just don't really think that that much older of a person should be interested in someone that young. I read this book, like I got commissioned to read this book, not by the author, by somebody else. This book has a huge age gap romance. I mean, like almost 35-year age gap romance. That is so big. I had so much trouble like swallowing that. And like I just couldn't get on board. And like the female main character was like 21 21 maybe, and the male main character was like almost 60. It was like, oh my gosh. This also had like a lot of other tropes in it that when you pair it with this big of an age gap, just kind of like set me off. Like there was the billionaire like trope, there was the rescue me trope, the rags to riches trope. Like there were too many other tropes in there that were so dependent on the male main character like rescuing this girl that I thought he was almost like collecting her in a way. And yeah, I just didn't love it. So yeah, I think the age gap actually has to be realistic for me to enjoy it. And like I said, everyone needs to be consenting and no grooming. Okay, the next one is the reunion romance. Since I've been talking like so long about ones I don't like, I love this one. Like, you know, when you go to your hometown or whatever and you meet up with someone from your past and you fall in love. Oh, I love it. I would read reunion romances every day. Okay, this next one, when I saw it on the list, I immediately thought back to a book I read like I can't even remember the title, but it gave me such a huge ick just like reading it on the page. It's the all grown up trope. What is this trope? I don't know. In my head, it's like, when I read it in this book, it was like this guy was lusting over this girl when she was like younger, and then she grew up and was like over 18, and he was like, oh, you grew up real good. And it gives me the ick. Oh, it just makes me so sick to my stomach to read that on the page. And so if that's what this trope is, no, absolutely not. I can't do it. Okay, the next one is the afraid to commit trope. Okay, I do like this one, but only if there's a good reason that the character doesn't want to commit. Like, if it's just this really cliched, like, oh, he's a guy and guys don't like commitment. No, I don't want to read that. If there's like an emotional trauma or like a legitimate reason why this person doesn't want to commit to somebody because they have issues, like, or they've had their heart broken or something, I want the tea, okay? I want the whole story. I want to see the pain on the page. So as long as it's not some cliched thing, I'm fine. This one I kind of like umbrellaed because like it could easily get broken down into a bunch of different things. But the peril trope, so basically like rescue me trope, like I'm in danger and save me trope, or like protect me from myself. I don't know. Of course, when I'm reading stuff like that, it is so subjective. It's so subjective of a trope. Like, it just really depends on what the book's like and what other tropes it's paired with and what we're really talking about on the page. In general, I don't mind this trope. Like, if someone asked me if I liked it, I would probably say yes. I'd want to know what the rest of the book was about. But yeah, so yeah, I probably like it. You want different things trope. I don't like this trope. Because it just implies to me that you two didn't like really discuss anything. Like, I don't know. What were you doing getting together if you want different things? I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I understand if it was like a fling thing, but then like just let it be a fling, I guess. I don't know. I've read a couple books like this, and by the end of the book, someone's heart always gets broken. I have a hard time loving books like this because I hate seeing people heartbroken at the end. So yeah, this is the last one, and this is kind of an umbrella term to one too, but I told you we get into it, and we are here. It is the different class trope, or, you know, aka billionaire royal trope, okay? Here's my opinion on all of that. Billionaire romances, I try to avoid them because the billionaire is always the dude, right? First of all, it's a little bit of a red flag. I really hate that they always paint it as the billionaire is the dude and the like sad poor girl is a girl, basically. I really hate seeing that on the page. And then it's quite typically paired with either the age gap trope or the like co-worker trope. And then it just dances too fine a line for me of like coercion at that point and like being bought. It rings too heavy the patriarch bill, right? That's really how I feel about it. I just feel like these really rich men always get what they want, and so they just buy these women. That's how it feels. No matter how you paint it, that's always how it feels to me. That these men will never be told no, and so they'll just take what they want. Every time I read a billionaire romance, I try to go in with an open mind and not be biased against it. And then, like, we're going through the book, and it's like, if you won't be with me, I'll just buy everything until you have to be with me. I remember I read one, I think it was this one, and she was like really mad at him, and she said, I don't want to see you anymore. And so she went back to her like crappy waitressing job, and he bought the restaurant that she worked in and fired her because he was like, I don't want you working there, and everywhere that you go work, I'll just buy that place too. And it gave me like, it was such a red flag, and I was like, girl, run from this man. But no, she fell in love with him. I don't know, I just can't make it make sense. I can't make it make sense, like, that these men just basically buy them. I'd be interested to see a billionaire romance where the billionaire is a woman paired with a co-worker that's a man, or another woman. I don't know. It's just, there's just always a lot of red flags that come with billionaire romances for me that I just can't look away from. You know what I mean? And when it's paired with the age gap trope, I absolutely hate it then even more, because it's always like this old, like this book again, it's like this old man like shacking up with a girl that's like way too young for him, and it's like, how is this not a sugar daddy situation? Which, like, on the one hand, I'm like, girl, get the bag and get out, but like, I don't know, it dredges up a lot. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, let me know in the comments if you want to see more soft-spoken videos on the page, on the channel. I'll see what I can do about that. Are there any tropes that are your absolute favorite that I didn't talk about? Or you have like a book that you really want me to read based on like what I talked about tonight? Let me know in the comments, because yeah, like I said, I don't read a ton of romance outside of my job, because my job just, my queue is always full of romance books. But yeah, if you guys make suggestions to me, I would love to know what you think. Make sure you hit all the buttons down below so you know when I'm posting, and I post